Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johanna Miller, Energy and Climate Program Director at the Vermont Natural Resources Council, and I am joined here today by my fabulous colleague, Lauren Hierl of Vermont Conservation Voters, and two of our strongest allies in this important climate work, Ben Edgerly Walsh of VPIRG and Chase Whiting of the Conservation Law Foundation. There's so much going on right now when it comes to climate that we are really excited to give you a very high level overview and then turn it over to Chase to share some very hot off the presses important climate news when it comes to the recent decision related to GlobalFoundries. But first, let me just say tremendous amount of work happening in the legislature right now. One of the biggest topics is the budget, the big bill. And so the committees of jurisdiction have been asked by House Appropriations, which takes the lead on the budget. Each session is asked those committees for their recommendations related to climate investments. And so the committees of jurisdiction are putting their hopes and dreams forward for the House Appropriations to consider, the full House to consider, and then that conversation will move more deeply into the Senate. We are weighing in on that too, and you can look to our website next week for our sort of recommended priorities to those committees of jurisdiction. Big topic, so stay tuned to that. Also excitingly and importantly, and we hope to go into more detail next week, but the Environmental Justice Bill, which is in Senate Natural Resources and Energy, made significant progress this week, and ultimately we hope will get up for a vote next week and get the funding that it needs essentially to move the bill over the line. So that will be really exciting and important. Stay tuned to that. And then in the policy arena, we've given you an update on 3 of our other big priority climate bills, and Ben is going to give you an overview of what those are. Take it away, Ben.
Thanks so much, Joey. So obviously, many folks listening will have been on Wednesday's webinar. If you haven't checked it out, we will definitely share a link to that. Please do if you're looking for more details, and we'll get into today on any of these topics. But the 3 things that I wanted to touch base on quickly were the Clean Heat Standard, the Transportation Innovation Act, and the sort of transportation bill as a package of work being done in House Transportation, and then H518, or the Municipal Energy Resilience Bill that's now passed out of House Energy. So the Clean Heat Standard, the quick update there is that House Energy and Technology has been doing a ton of work on this bill. Again, this bill is one that would require fossil fuel providers, the sort of large fossil fuel companies that sell into Vermont, to help Vermonters reduce their fossil fuel use, reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by switching to cleaner options in the heating space. The House Energy and Technology Committee looks like they're on track to vote it out next week. That's been discussed in committee, and there have been a lot of revisions made over the course of this week. It looks like they're going to continue work into early next week, and we're really excited about the direction that it's headed. So stay tuned for more news on that next week. The next one is the transportation work. So this is the Transportation Innovation Act, H552, which you've probably heard of if you tune into these on a regular basis. That's also, of course, in House Transportation, where the transportation bill is going to be coming out of shortly after town meeting break. And our expectation, as we've noted before, is that 552 by itself is not going to be moving, but a lot of the really important investments in it, in electric vehicles and vehicle charging infrastructure, public transit, biking and walking infrastructure, transit electrification, are going to be incorporated into the T-bill, the transportation bill. So again, in the coming weeks, stay tuned for more news on that. But we are very encouraged by the governor's fairly strong recommendations, and really our message to House Transportation is these are the sort of right level of investment, but we need to get these dollars out the door as fast as possible and really build out our infrastructure and do this work quickly so that we can actually get on track at long last to hit our climate targets in the transportation sector. And the last bill that I'll mention briefly is H518, the Municipal Energy Resilience Bill. As I mentioned, that passed out of House Energy and Technology. It's over in House Appropriations now, and that would dedicate $48 million to helping most really it's a bill with enough funding that it would get to most municipalities in the state of Vermont and help them reduce their energy costs, reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from the heating of their buildings, and switch to renewable heating systems, and weatherize those buildings. So again, really exciting, and a bill that would really do a lot, both on the energy and the resilience side of the equation for communities all around the state. So really hoping that House Appropriations supports that $48 million. But really the big news this week, as Joey mentioned, was actually at the Public Utilities Commission, not in the State House. And so I'll turn it over to Chase to give us an update there.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, some really exciting news out of the Public Utility Commission this week. So yesterday, the Public Utility Commission issued a decision that prevented GlobalFoundries, which is one of the state's largest polluters and the largest user of electricity, to prevent them from skirting some of Vermont's most important climate prevention laws. So GlobalFoundries was trying to create a loophole that would have allowed it to violate Vermont's renewable energy standard, which is which is absolutely critical to reducing Vermont's greenhouse gas emission pollution, and without which it would have set us back significantly in making the strides that we need to make in order to preserve our healthy climate for our children and for our families. They were also seeking permission to avoid Vermont's efficiency requirements, energy efficiency requirements, and also they were seeking special permission to make fewer than the required greenhouse gas emission reductions that are contemplated in the Global Warming Solutions Act. So they're really just asking for exemption from the most important energy laws and pollution laws that we have to prevent climate change. The PUC struck that down and said that GlobalFoundries' request was unlawful. It's outside the bounds of the law that Vermont allows, and this is a really tremendous outcome of this case. Climate change is already impacting Vermonters in really important ways, from our shorter winters, impacts on the skiing and snowboarding industry, the maple sugaring industry, more tick-borne illnesses. The list goes on. And so, climate change is impacting the entire community. And this decision shows that all members of the community, even powerful and wealthy corporations, need to do their part, and that we're all in this together, and nobody gets a free ride. So really happy with the outcome. We held the line. The renewable energy standard efficiency requirements and GWSA obligations stand strong, which is great. Creates a platform for us to push forward on new policies to continue to fight and continue to reduce climate pollution.
That is great. Thanks for that update, and huge gratitude to you, Chase, and your team, and the coalition who had really activated when we learned about this, and you all did so much work for this big win. So kudos, thank you for all the effort that went into that, and obviously we'll keep fighting for the next phase, whatever that looks like, but big win. So let's all take a moment to celebrate, which we sometimes forget to do. As we're fighting all these other big important battles at the State House. So we always like to end these with a call to action. And this week, we started with the budget, and there is so much opportunity and potential in getting the investments in climate action right. And we need our representatives to be hearing from all of us about how this is urgent and important and an opportunity that we cannot miss. So we're asking this week for you to reach out to your representatives, urge them to make significant climate investments in the budget. As Joey mentioned, the policy committees are weighing in with the appropriations committee right now. So basically every representative has some role in being able to weigh in and make the case that they're hearing from their constituents that climate investments matter. So it's a really important time. And so again, just letting them know that we need to support climate investments that are at the scope and scale needed to implement the climate action plan and to keep us on track for our climate pollution reduction targets. So we'll put some more information and link to the webinar where we have lots of detail on all these policies, but thanks for joining us. And the team will be back next week with more information. So thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.